At the start of 2013, I was a communications manager handling 3 countries for a small business. At that year, I looked forward to being Mrs. So-and-so. As I was prancing around Cloud 9, really enjoying my life, let's just say life happened. By the end of that year, I was single, jobless, and homeless. Like a small company I was working for declared me redundant. And it's no surprise that I was falling back on rent and my son's school fees. My saving grace was going to be my fiancé, who, even on his own, was going through a financial storm. That same year, we had started this small consultancy business after I was fired, just so I can see whether we could get our life together. There's that thing about being a Proverbs 31 kind of wife. I assumed it even before I was one. So I asked him, babe, how about we consolidate our resources, translate, how about you come home to my house so we can live together and my son would have less disruption going to school. As men have this ego and this lack of commitment, there was a proper storm. And the storm came hard. After 6 years of a beautiful relationship, where I thought that I finally found the man of my dreams, our relationship shattered. It was one of the most heartbreaking experiences to have someone tell you, you're going to have to deal with the landlord by yourself. And at this point in time, the landlord was literally giving me an eviction notice for a Christmas gift. Suffice it to say, that was the most alone moment I ever had. When you talk about having a relationship, for a woman when you get to a certain age and you have a son already, you have this pressure to always want to belong to someone. So in my head, heart, and mind, I knew I had a family already. And when that didn't happen, I was again out in the street, having to deal with a landlord and an agent who just wasn't patient. The amount of begging that I did was not enough. So my little baggage and I, and my son in tow, asking me, Mommy, why are we going back to Shosho's? My dented pride, and I had to go back to my mama's house, which I had left so confidently because I had my life together. This is Emily, after all. There's a thing about going back to your mom's house when you are a daughter and when you have already proven to the world that you can put it together. My mom and I love each other to death, but we can live apart just so that that love sustains. That is how we sustain our love. Come January 2014, my son needed to go back to school. His going back to school necessitated for someone who lived closer to his school to be able to take him in. This meant that he could not commute from where my mother and I stay. This meant that I had to find someone closer by to hang on to him just so that I can get my finances in order. After all, I'm single. I remember making a call to my cousin who lived about, say, 10 kilometers from where my son schools, and asking her and her husband, would you be so kind as to hold on to Ryan for just a couple of weeks, because I believed it was going to be weeks, just so that I can get my life together, find a job, and then I'll come and pick him up. The first night I left him at my cousin's house, he was like, Mommy, when are you coming back? Because it was a weekend. Mommy, are you coming back? I was like, I'm coming. That evening, I broke down. I couldn't believe that I had let go, or I had to let go of my son a second time to have to stay with someone else, just so that I could get my life in order. The first time is when I was in campus. He was about a year old. And this is possibly why the relationship shattered me so much. Is that my ex-fiancé and I would literally, I kid you not, go uphill, down dale, and across a river, I kid you not, to go and see my son at a house on a hill in a thicket. And because he was small, he would push his hand, stretch his hand out to ask me, "Mommy, pick me." And when he would say goodbye, because I had to go back to school, he would break down and scream, and that was my goodbye. I didn't imagine that I had to go through that again, the pain and the shame of not being able to take care of my own child. I felt irresponsible. And someone had the audacity to ask me, "Kwani huna bwana?" I almost asked them, "Haven't you seen him? He just left. He was over there." Little did I know that this anger, this bitterness, this lack of self-confidence would spill into a job that I finally blessed, God is great, that I was finally blessed with sometime early 2014. I thought I had it together, guys. Whoa! This was an award-winning agency, so I felt like I was among peers, and my goodness, we used to dress up. So I went in there thinking that I had my A game, but my head was always back at home, trying to move out because my mother and I just couldn't stand each other, and at the same time, really putting it together because I wanted to see my son again. 6 months probations can be the most scary thing for anyone starting out at a job. It's worse enough when you have this comeback that you are about to fail in. But what's worse is not having your child with you through these moments. So as God is great, I went on to do my jobs happily. I got my 1-bedroom house. I know we all do not want to pay rent, but for me it was the sense of freedom, the sense of I have my life back. I couldn't wait to pick my son up from my cousin. In as much as there were days that I honestly couldn't stand going to see him because honestly, I couldn't bear that pain. I couldn't bear that shame. All that just fizzled in a light bulb. When he stood and he told me, I told him, "Baba, we're going home." Yo! If you have ever had a teddy bear hug from a son, it's the most invigorating, refreshing feeling. Even though we had to share a bedroom, there was just that fact that he's there. I can see him. I can take care of him. And I promised myself for as long as I'm alive, I will never have to have someone else take care of himself, take care of my own child. So, there's this thing about single parents and how the society deems us. Some damning statistics have the audacity to tell us, single parents, that chances of our children failing at life, becoming drug addicts, becoming having teenage pregnancies is possibly very high when you're raised by a single mom. Coincidentally, my mother is a single mother. And I believe she raised my 2 siblings and I beautifully. We're successful people. Okay, fine, maybe I fell off the tracks by becoming a teenage mom. Barack Obama, Tupac Shakur, and I are kind of on the same WhatsApp group. I mean, we may have had our moments in life, but here we are, successful people, right? I have the confidence to say that I am seeing my son through teenage now. And we need support pillars because I couldn't do it without my mother, without my cousins stepping in, without my brother, my sibling, especially my sister. They are all my support unit. A second chance at raising your child comes every day, despite your mistakes, despite your flaws. I got a second chance at being a great mom. I'd like to believe I am. I needed to get my life in order just so that I'm able to provide a foundation strong enough to hold a man up. I've gotten a second chance at demonstrating and proving the society wrong that children born from single parent households are actually successful. I'm proud to say that my son can wash his drawers, he can wash his handkerchief, and he cooks a mean rice and yellow bean stew. So he can take care of himself. So for every single parent, I would love to encourage you to take that chance to always give yourself a break. That second chance to believe that your children are going to be successful based on your efforts. And to everyone else who thinks that single parents can't handle it, I'm sorry, we can, but we can't do it alone. That's why we need support systems on where your mistakes were, but make sure that you course correct real quick so that your children are able to have a beautiful and happy life.